Good morning, YouTube. How are we all doing? Today, I am going to be running you through my lean bulking diet. And I've got you hooked already. So, let's be honest before we get started. Lean bulking is absolute bollocks. And yes, I have deliberately put the camera below me so that I seem a little bit taller because I wanted to. And I'm in charge of the recording. So that's what I'm going to do. So, lean bulking is bullshit, in my opinion, because what most people end up doing is trying to stay so lean that they don't actually gain any size. And then that's why they think that they need to diet bulk because they didn't gain any size with what they did before. So then they end up getting way too fat. And, I've done this and it's not a good idea. I did the eat everything in sight bulk, and all it got me was gaining like 5 kilos in 2 months. And when you're 5 foot tall, that's a lot of weight. That doesn't look very good. So all I then had to do was spend more time in a cut where I was losing performance because I couldn't train properly, and I was really hungry because I had no discipline whatsoever, which was not an ideal circumstance. But it's one of those things that you learn over time. And in reality, most people need to be, somewhere between Paul Carter's main gaining and the pro bodybuilder dirty bulk, get as heavy as physically possible. Because neither of which are actual scenarios. And I'm going to show you the changes that I've made to make sure that I can gain muscle mass without just getting fat along the way. So longer intro for you there, but let's get into the video. So meal number one here, oats, whey, dark chocolate. Don't mind this mess, you can't see that, that doesn't exist. And we are going to submerge the dark chocolate here because it's way, way nicer like that. I've been doing this very recently. So we got 2 Ferrero Rocher chocolates in there. And then we're just going to submerge the snowman from my advent calendar as well. We will not be wasting these macros. Do not worry. And then we're just going to smooth that over so I can't see where it is, sort of. And then I'm going to spin it round so we get a nice chocolate surprise. That sounds like a dirty sex move or something like that. So we are at the desk in business owner mode now, not athlete mode. Athlete mode is for later. Feature little lactic over here in the corner. What a legend. So I'm just at the desk doing some content writing, but that is not relevant to you guys whatsoever because what we are here to talk about after the last meal is what you will notice is that all of that stuff is whole nutrient dense foods. And a lot of the issues that people make when they go into a bulk is think that they can eat whatever. I'm eating exactly the same shit. I'm just having more oats, more rice, more fruit, because I like fruit and fruit's nice. More sweet potato and all of that. Okay, it's still exactly the same foods. And that is what you should put the focus on, not try and incorporate absolutely everything immediately. Like there'll be a time and a place for that. There'll be a time and a place for squares bars, for an off plan here or there. But you need to make sure that you don't just go fucking haywire, right? That's the point. And on that note, if you like oats, you can have oats. If you like cream of rice, you can have cream of rice. But you don't need to worry about which one. There seems to be people that are massively in favour of one or the other. I like both. I have oats. If I could only have one, I'd probably have oats instead of cream of rice, just because I find cream of rice gets a bit sickly. But apart from that, they're both good. They're both good options. It's okay. It's all good. No one's going to die. In a bit. Pre-workout meal is 150 grams of chicken mince, 125 grams of rice. Here we've got some pineapple, some beetroot, courgette, carrot, all the normal veg, and then a little bit of fat here and some hot sauce because it makes it taste nice. So I'm going to scran this and then I'll tell you a little bit more about why I'm eating this sort of stuff. So protein and fat in that meal are about the same as meal one, but we've got much higher carbs there, going from about 70 up to sort of 115 or so. There, obviously, there's going to be a little bit of inaccuracy in the tracking anyway. It's just inherent with the food sources and the leeway that they're allowed. But a fair bit more carbs. Still got some fats in there because I'm going to train Paul in about 2 hours or so once that's had a good amount of time to digest. So I'm not feeling bogged down, but equally the fats are keeping me sustained as I'm going through the workout there because it slowed down the digestion of the carbs, sort of thing. And again, I just really like this meal. It's got a nice mix of sweet, savory, get a bit of hot sauce in there as well, and it works out lovely. I have realized I will put the foods, the macros, all of that down on the screen below. So you will have already seen that. And if you were wondering, why is the placement of that a bit weird? That is the reason why. So I'm going to eat and I'm going to get into the pull session. Always have to close the lockers. It drives me insane when they're just messed up. What I love about setting up pull downs on the cable stack here is that you can match it exactly to the position that you need rather than being stuck in some arbitrary path or range of motion that the machine designer has said you need to have. I can start this so my arm's quite high and it finishes quite low. I can shuffle the bench along here so it matches up nicely for each side, exactly as wide as I want it. And when you progress that over time, you go from, using measly little weights, which people say aren't going to help you grow, to using almost a stack with one arm, which isn't too bad in my opinion. So some nice low rep sets on each side there, 6 to 10, two of those to start off with, because I'm still fairly early into this gaming phase, still got a little bit of fatigue left from the photo shoot prep, and don't want to go crazy in these first couple of weeks. But I'm doing lower reps, one, because it takes a bit less time. I've got the strength at the start of the session. And something that you might notice there is that, not each rep is exactly the same, in the sense of I'm not getting quite so short towards the end, because this exercise is really hard in that position. And I'd much rather get a couple of reps where I'm not going maybe all the way down than calling the set here just because I can't get really, really short and still having like 5 reps left in the lengthened position, which seems to be the most important. You need to be adaptable with your training. The machine that I want at the moment, both of them are busy. I can't do my chest supported rows now, so I'm looking at what is going to have the least interference. Probably my lateral raise, probably something like that. So I've moved them to earlier in the session. And when it comes to why I'm doing these cuffed at the elbow, going behind the body, we could come for a massive sciencey argument of this way's better, that way's better. It's just comfort. Like, this is just the position that feels the most comfortable. The first few weeks of your gaining phase are absolutely vital. This is where you have to be very diligent with your diet to make sure that you don't get fat too quickly. But equally, where you're setting a baseline in your entire training program, okay, this is where you need to make sure that you've got very good form so that as you progress load, you're actually putting more stimulus on your muscle. And when I say progression, I think most people have a misunderstanding of what that actually is. You're not going to be jumping up in load on a cuff lateral raise. If you get one load increase across an entire gaining phase, that's good. Okay, we're talking a rep or two, 1.25, maybe 2.5 kilos on a compound. But it's not this crazy thing. It only looks crazy when you zoom out and see the long term. And then you might have actually made some visual progress. At the end of the day, no matter how perfect your diet is of eating the right foods, getting the amount of calories, the right amount of protein, any of that stuff, even eating your fucking veggies, sorry, Eddie Boo, they are important. It's not going to make a difference if this stuff isn't on point, if your training isn't high quality, if you aren't progressing over time. If you want to brutalize your upper back and be finished in less than 3 minutes, that's a record for me. Then try this superset. So what we're going to do is get the wide grip pronated handles and do a set of chest supported rows here. Then pop the weight down, grab the NutriGrip ones, strap on, and do some Kelso shrugs as you'll see in on screen. What that's going to do is finish off the traps and the rhomboids because they act as scapular retractors, depressors, and elevators depending upon exactly where we're looking. So after you finish your set of wide brick rows, they've still got a little bit left to give, and we might as well use that and save yourself some time rather than loading up and doing a completely different exercise of shrugs. So you might as well save yourself some time by doing these straight after, rather than loading up some shrugs and doing a completely different exercise, which, to be honest, probably isn't going to be as good anyway. If you'd like some more tips when it comes to building your back, just DM me the word density or something else cringy. We are interrupting your regularly scheduled programming or something else in an awesome voice to say that I may or may not have completely forgot to speak, apparently forgot to plug my coaching and all of that good stuff, or even tell you to subscribe. So if you're enjoying this so far, make sure you subscribe. And if you get a couple of months into your bulk, always end up fat, aren't sure what you should be doing to build more muscle mass, then pop me a message and I'll run you through how we can work all of that out within the coaching process. Okay. Stop keeping your torso still and locked down when you're performing, because not only is this limiting how much load you can do, it's also giving you a worse profile for the exercise. When you're standing pretty much dead upright, it's going to be really tough in that short position where we're weakest anyway. So by leaning over as you go through the rep, get into that length position, you're going to get more load in the stretch, and it's going to be better suited to what we can actually do. Bonus points if you use 2 ropes and take up all the extra equipment just for better alignment. And that's the final lat exercise. Well, back in general for the session. All done, all dusted off. Using the dual ropes there because we don't have any long ones at the gym, and I would quite like to get a decent range of motion. Then we got some rope hammer curls, just 1 rope here because I am way too short to need two. That would just be ridiculous. And then a couple of single arm cable curls. My reps on here to really, really mess me up. And as we can see, the pump was pretty damn ridiculous. Very, very happy with that. Slightly unhappy with the hairline here. We need to work on that a little bit. Unfortunately, there's not many exercises that you can do to improve that bad boy. But yeah, visual is in a really, really good spot here post-diet phase. Couple of pounds up, not fat, looking much better. Fatigue has dropped off, and I am starting to feel very, very good. So it's onwards and upwards from here. It looks like I've almost got some sort of feast going for meal number 3 here, or the post-workout, but we just got sweet potato, beef, same sort of veggie mix, except we've got mushrooms. I've recently had a food increase, but haven't meal prepped since then, so we've got a squares while going in, and then some pineapple and some sauerkraut, because health and all of that. One of my clients bought that for me, and she is a legend. So that is just a nice, quick digesting meal post-workout to get into my system, help fuel myself for tomorrow's session, recover from the one that I've done here. As you'll see, I'm feeling very festive with the Christmas jumper at work. And the reason, like, people are like, oh, fucking eat loads of food post-workout, make sure you fuel yourself up, shuttle it into the muscles. And that sort of thing, along with just dirty bulking generally, I think is an excuse to just not be regimented, like to just not really give a fuck, to just eat like 7 Rice Krispie bars or half a box of cereal, not even fucking weigh it out, or just get even worse, like fucking post-workout donuts or some shit. Like, if you're actually tracking your cereal and you see I've got some of my last meal, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you're just fucking pounding that down milk and then whatever the fuck else you want because you can, I'm not surprised that you end up getting fat. Like, in fact, you basically guaranteed it with the approach that you've taken there, which is why I'm doing a lean bulk and being cool and regimented, just like I would be in a diet phase, because at the end of the day, you need to have that same level of discipline if you want to look better the next time it comes to dieting. And we have got the final meal of the day here. Yogurt, 250 grams of that, 120 grams of cereal, because I like processed food and clearly want to get fat, because that's how it works. It's got nothing to do with calories. It's all about hormones, and obviously these guys really mess up your hormones. No, it tastes nice. It gives me a nice texture. So I eat it. That's really it. And I'm just prepping one for tomorrow as well. Bit of cinnamon, bit of salt in there, almond butter, and lovely stuff. Let's get into it. So, final meal of the day, all done and dusted. Oh, no, I can't see. That is not ideal, being able to see. Is good, and that is the full day of eating. So, sitting at just about 3,000 calories there, 160 protein, and I'll hold that as a baseline. You know, it will go up a little bit, 2, 3, 4, 5 grams as we increase carbs, because that's just how it works. We're not going to drop it. And it's this fairly the same sort of thing with fats there, where I'm at a good baseline where I've got some dark chocolate, I've got some almond butter, I've got some beef meal. I've got beef meal. And then I've got some oils as well. So a little bit of everything, making sure to get my essential fatty acids. And aside from that, it's just a case of slowly pushing the carbs up, including the veggies. I'm sat at like 3,000 calories a day. So a nice, comfortable baseline gives me enough room to incorporate off-plan meals, that sort of thing here or there, and not get fat. So onwards and upwards. We've got another 4 months or so at the time of filming, and before I'll be starting prep, and still plenty of leeway when it comes to gaining. So in a bit, if you've enjoyed this, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave a hate comment if you hate me. I hate you too. And that's it. In a bit.